Welcome to 52 Questions. I'm Shannon Weber, Director of Hive. Every year, Hive answers hundreds of questions from patients, their partners, and providers. And each week in 2018, we're bringing you one of those frequently asked questions in video format. And for this week's questions, I'm with Reid at City Clinic in San Francisco. And this week's question is, how do I pay for PrEP? So PrEP is pre-exposure prophylaxis. We'll link out to some other videos explaining how PrEP works and if PrEP is right for you. But today we want to understand, how can we pay for it?
All right. So how you would pay for it if you do not have any money to pay for PrEP, you would go through an organization called the Gilead organization, who provides Truvada to patients who cannot afford the medication.
Mm-hmm.
And what that would look like is you have to go into a provider, and you would meet with the provider, and the provider would write you a prescription.
So you got to get your provider and you got to get the prescription. And then this program from Gilead, it's called the Medication Assistance Program.
That's correct.
Uh-huh.
And what would happen at that point, after you get the prescription from the provider, you would then meet with a navigator.
Mm-hmm.
And when you meet with a navigator, you would complete a Gilead application.
Mm-hmm.
And in this application, they just will assess whether you have insurance, and they want to make sure that you're qualified to receive the medication.
Yep. And can you explain a little bit? Okay, so maybe we should pause. So if you have insurance.
If you have insurance, then your insurance, depending on the type of insurance that you have, will pay for the medication. And at that point, we will give you copay cards to ensure that you can receive the medication without cost.
Got it. And then there's people who have insurance, but you call them, or many people call them, underinsured. And can you explain who that person is?
So an underinsured person would be someone who has insurance, but it does not cover the medication that they need for their health care. And so at that point, if you're underinsured, depending on the kind of plan that you have, you could get access to this medication, or we may have to figure out other little options.
So if someone is underinsured, meaning they do have insurance, but it doesn't cover prescriptions, it would be good for them to work with a navigator to sort out how to get it paid for.
Yes, because we have different funding streams that we can reach for, depending on the person's age. There's the Youth Emergency Fund, there's PATH, and then there's Gilead. Great. And then if they're insured, we can go through their insurer and give them a copay card to ensure that they get access.
Okay, and so for uninsured folks and the Medication Assistance Program, and this can include people who are undocumented.
Yeah, it's especially for people that are undocumented. So if you're undocumented, that does not present a barrier to you receiving PrEP. We can still PrEP you even if you're undocumented.
Great. Then will you walk me through, because I sometimes feel like this feels intimidating and overwhelming. And it is good to be able to work on it with someone.
Sure.
But also when you break it down, it's less overwhelming. Can you explain how this Medication Assistance Program from Gilead works?
So how the program works is we fill out an application. And in this application, as you can see, we have highlighted sections which the patient would fill out. And then there's a section here for the physician where he needs to complete it, he or she needs to complete it, put their MPI number as well as sign and date it. Mm-hmm. And at that point, as the patient goes through the application, the navigator will walk the patient through. And if the patient maybe can or cannot read, the navigator will complete the application for the patient, as well as get all the relevant information. And if the patient does not have stubs or anything like that, the navigator can write a letter for the patient to ensure that the patient has access. So sometimes, Gilead will require that you have proof of your income.
Okay, that's what you were referring to about the stubs, is that one of the questions is they want to make sure you're under a certain income.
That's correct.
But the navigator can help you sort that out.
The navigator can help you sort it out. The navigator can also write a letter for you, just in case that you don't have any supporting documentation around your income.
Yep.
So there's all different kinds of ways, little tricks that the navigator can utilize to ensure that the patient has access to this medication.
Okay, so once this 3-page application is filled out, it's signed by the provider, the prescriber, what happens?
Then the navigator will take the application, fax it over to Gilead. Mm-hmm. Gilead will give us approval or a denial the very next day.
So it's a one-day turnaround.
It's a one-day turnaround, generally, unless they're really, really backed up. But normally it's a one-day turnaround, possibly 2, but never 3. I've never experienced it. generally it'll turn it right back around, let you know that patient has either been accepted or rejected, and at that time, you would need to wait another additional 24 hours to call back in to get a ID number so that the patient can acquire the prescription. And what we do here at City Clinic is we already have the ID number, the BIN, the group, and the PCN, as well as the expiration date and Gilead's number on a little card so that the patient, when they leave the visit on that very same day, they would take the prescription, and as well as this, so that when we text them in 2 days, they'll be able to take the prescription and this little card to the pharmacy to acquire the medication.
So you go with this information and you're able to pick up your prescription from a pharmacy just like anyone else.
The pharmacy of your choice, that's correct.
Interesting. Is it possible for someone to do this on their own?
It's possible for someone, but they'd have to be really sophisticated because you'd have to know about the BIN, the group, the PCN. So I think it would probably be easy if you had a navigator, because if you get into those gray areas that you may be unsure of, a navigator can navigate that area with you to ensure that there's no gap in you receiving your medication.
And the navigator understands ways in which the form might be rejected because it's not filled out properly, or these sorts of things that you might not understand on your own.
You're so correct, because if you misplace putting any information, or you might not have, say if your income is kind of high and above the limit, but you have 3 or 4 people in your household, that can make you qualified. But if you don't know that, you might just put 1. Instead of putting the actual amount of people. And we find that sometimes we share that with people who may not have a social security number because their income might be a little higher than the threshold that's allowed. But, we let them know that, list as many people in the household because that helps the application.
Tell me also, there's an expiration on this little card. So if you do this application, you get approved, how long does it last?
So Gilead will approve you even if you're Medi-Cal eligible. There are some patients who come here and they initiate PrEP and they don't know that they're eligible for Medi-Cal. And so what Gilead will do, and what we at City Clinic do, if the patient is Medi-Cal eligible, we'll let them know that they should apply to Medi-Cal, because Medi-Cal will pay for PrEP 100%. But in the duration, to ensure that the patient doesn't have any gap, and especially if they're at risk for HIV, Gilead will approve them for 3 months.
Oh, great.
Yes, while they go and try to interface with the
eligibility
worker over at the over at the Medi-Cal office. Thank you. That's what I was trying to say. So at Medi-Cal, sometimes if you don't know that you're eligible, Gilead will approve them until they get their Medi-Cal started.
I have a question for you about can people under the age of 18 get assistance through the medication assistance program?
As long as they're over a certain weight, they're eligible for PrEP, and yes, they could.
Great.
Because we can go through the Youth Emergency Fund.
Okay, now that's for San Francisco.
That is for San Francisco.
So that's special for San Francisco.
That is special for San Francisco, unfortunately.
So do you know if it works, the medication assistance program for people under 18 outside, or generally, or I can go find out?
I'll find out for you.
Yeah, I feel curious about that. Okay, so if you're in San Francisco and you want help paying for PrEP, you know where to come. City Clinic, we'll put a link to that. MarQ'uis or anyone else here who does PrEP navigation can help you.
Oh, we have quite a few navigators. We have Chris, we have Montika, who is our supervisor, we have Andrea, so we have a nice full team who can help any person that comes into our clinic.
There are also other PrEP navigators throughout California, and you can see them listed at pleaseprepme.org. You can search for a provider near you, and there's a filter for if navigation services are available. And we also have a chat feature at pleaseprepme.org where there is a PrEP navigator there who can help you get linked to a navigator near you or help you with filling out this paperwork so that you can get PrEP paid for as well.
Yes.
Awesome. So many options. Thank you for all this great information.
Oh,
I feel much more empowered after talking to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.